Alright you guys, today's video is super exciting because we're actually going to do a 5-lug swap on this car, which is a super popular modification a lot of guys do. Not only that, we get to change the ugly wheels on it, so that's cool. So I've had this thing for a couple weeks now, and the first thing I did right out of the gate was order the 5-lug kit. I didn't do my homework, which you should do. Apparently you can use SN95 spindles. Apparently you can get the 5-lug disc brakes off one of those in the junkyard, and that's a cheap way to do it. And I think an 8.8 out of a Ford Ranger has the same axles as this, and you can do that in the junkyard, so it's a way cheaper option. But for me, I just didn't have the time to go to the nearest junkyard. Because for me, living in the middle of nowhere, nearest junkyard that has a Foxbody in it's like an hour drive one way. So for me to go there and hope it's there is not worth it to me. So I ended up ordering a whole kit on LMR. So we're going to be doing a whole LMR install on the 5-lug kit. So it should go pretty smoothly since all this stuff is brand new. But I'm most excited to get rid of these super ugly wheels, and I cannot wait to show you guys what's going on in this car. It's going to be sick. Alright, so we got our whole LMR 5-lug swap kit kind of laid out here. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox all this stuff and start going through it. Alright guys, so basically everything you get in this kit, you get rear brakes, rear brake drums, so you can see we got the new drum. We have the rotors, the front disc rotors, all the seals, bearings, and all the fluid to go with it. And then you have the axles. So it's a new set of axles. This is a 28 spline axle. It's a very generic axle. It's nothing performance oriented. The car doesn't make much power. The thing I was kind of disappointed about is they don't press in the studs for you. You got to do it yourself, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So I'm going to start with the front because the front will be really easy. It'll get most of the stuff off the counter here. So I'm going to go ahead and lift the front of the car. I'm going to put the whole car up on jack stands because another issue we have is exhaust on this car. It's basically dragging on the ground, which you can see up there. So that's something I got to fix. I'm going to put this car up in the air and start going through it. All right, got this thing pretty high up in the air. Man, I really need to invest in a lift. This is really sketchy, especially when the car is low and it's a new car. So now added to my to-do list, sell a bunch of crap, move into a garage, and get a freaking lift, because that would make this so much easier. Oh my God. My handy dandy little bone creeper. Let's get underneath this thing and see what we can find. All right, so first off, looks like our training mount is split clean in half, which I could tell because when you shift it, power shift it pretty hard, and you get on and off throttle, you can watch the shifter kind of move up and down. So that's great. Our exhaust fittings don't look too bad. You can definitely see where it was scraping right there on the ground. That's definitely got to get fixed. But that's not even the bad part. Look back here. You can definitely see where it was hitting the ground, and then it goes kind of straight back. But I don't think it's the exhaust fault. I think it's whoever put this exhaust system in did a terrible job. You can see whoever put these in hung them way too low. So from them scraping on the ground, it ended up ripping a hole in it. So that's awesome. And then there's a bunch of little crappy weld exhaust leaks right here. That doesn't really get much better as you go back. And then the actual exhaust system, for whatever reason, they decided to weld the rusty, ugly hangers on the outside so you see them. But they didn't angle the tips, which is how pretty much every Foxbody I've ever seen is. This looks like if I put a fat tire on it, it's gonna rub, which definitely looks like the tire I'm about to put on it. It's gonna rub, so that's cool. Whatever bend they put in here hits the axle right there. You can see it definitely rubs right there. And it's a 2-piece, so they welded it there. The other side, you can see it definitely rubs pretty good on the axle if it bottoms out. Man, somebody must have jumped this car. But if you see anything else specific that I don't see, just comment down below. But other than that, I mean, it looks pretty decent. I don't really see anything that's like crazy, minus the fact the exhaust is hanging so ridiculously low. So that's definitely something I want to fix. But LMR does sell a back half, basically exhaust tip kit. Basically goes from where my mufflers are back, so I can weld up the holes in the exhaust, and then I can put the whole, tailpipe kit in for just shy of 200 bucks. So I might just do that. It'll definitely look better than that. I don't know why whoever put the exhaust in thought it was a good idea to put the hanger on the outside where you can see it. Anyways, that's not what we're getting into. Let's go ahead and pull these wheels off real quick. Oh, that one's way worse. Flat. So I realized while I was under here that there is still a rear end tag. So it's an 8.8 with, oh that sucks, 308s. You can see the 08 right there. 308, 8.8. I thought it was 355s, but I guess if it's 308, that works for me. It's a better highway gear. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but there is an L there, which means this isn't a limited slip. It's a 3L08. I thought this was an open diff, so that means the clutches are bad, but that's good. At least has a limited slip carrier that I can rebuild. I thought this thing was completely open, so I'll just get some new clutches and rebuild that while I'm down here. And look who showed up in my sweet old car. I kind of do miss that thing. We were joking because apparently the Focuses have the 4x108 lug spacing, which is exactly what the Foxes are, and I was like, dude, those wheels would look so sick on this car if they were the right offset. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have two impacts, so I'm not gonna give away mine.
See why I like that thing so much?
Yeah, but like I keep one in my truck and one in my... Oh yeah, that was mint. Oh, that was about to come apart. No, it's dry rotted on both sides. Yeah. I didn't crack that bitch, trained it. Damn, they use a lot of RTD on this thing.
Guess what I'm not gonna fucking do. You guys are asking
Done an 8A before. These things are really easy. Wow, that is way easier than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, you should be able to pull it out now. Alright, well that just works, doesn't it? Alright, so this definitely is not the right way to do this. I just want to get them all seated so then I can put it on a press later. But for right now, what I'm doing, taking the stud, which I don't know where the hell I put the other one, but so our stud, you drop it on the floor.
There it is.
So we use, pull the stud in, massive nut. That sounds horrible. I don't know why I just said that. And then we'll use a acorn style lug nut, which seats perfectly into the center of the larger nut. Go ahead and thread that on decently tight, or as tight as I can really get it. The threads in this lug nut are starting to get kind of effed up. But this is just to seat it, and then basically from there you take your big ol' impact and reel it on. And then you have one guy hold it. That one went all the way in. These things are like welded together. Oh wow, yeah they are. But threads are fine. I mean, keep in mind these are designed to be impacted on by when you impact the wheel on and off. But now you can see this one is now, this one's fully seated now, the one we just did. So if you don't have a press, this is a good way to do it. I know there's a bunch of people who probably say, don't ever do that, but it worked for me, it can work for you. I've done this plenty of times. But if you have a press, just use a press. But this is a good way to just start it. So you can see we still gotta press this one, and this one didn't want to go in all the way. Here did this one. So we'll final press all these to make sure, but I wouldn't rely on doing it this way. Also, that's a gnarly impact that we're using. So you have to have a pretty hefty impact to get this thing to go in all the way. But this is the way we're gonna seat them all, and then we're gonna put them back in the press, make sure they're all the way in, all the way straight. Alright guys, so our axle shaft slid in there like it's designed to be there, obviously. Now comes the fun part where we're gonna go get the wheels for this thing, which I've actually owned for a long time. This is gonna be super ironic. And I'll pull them out of the backyard, roll them up. We're gonna mock these things up. These are gonna look so cool on this car. I cannot wait to show you guys. Oh my god. Alright, well, that is definitely a good look for this car. I know a lot of you guys like this wheel package on the Galaxy, but it is made for, I guess, Fox platform, 2-valve, 3-valve, new edge. It's a Mustang wheel. Anything with a McPherson strut and an 8.8 rear end, which most of them do, that's what this is actually made for. And you can see the fitment on this thing It's pretty much as perfect as you're gonna get. I have a good feeling when we drop this thing down, it might rub, but that's all things that we can fix. But this is a 275/40/17 NT55R drag radial. This is what's on the back of the Red Galaxy. This is a 17 by 10.5, I believe 6-inch backspace, 6 or 6.5. These are SVE Bullet wheels, like the movie Steve McQueen Bullet. These are those wheels. I believe they're on AmericanMuscle.com, but they do fit this car quite well, and I think they look pretty good. I actually looked for hours and hours and hours trying to find another Foxbody with these wheels, and for whatever dumb reason I could not find them. And sure enough, you can see the meat under there looks absolutely amazing. I love the little bit of poke at the back. I think that looks quite well. And I think after a little bit of tire shine and wheel cleanup, things look pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing back off, get the drum painted, go ahead and start working on the front. You'll also probably notice that it's nighttime out right now. It's actually, I think, about 11 o'clock at night, and I'm gonna continue working pretty much until I'm done. So I'll probably be out here till 2 in the morning, mostly because it's 100 degrees outside in the daytime, and I don't have a garage, as you guys know. So to be more productive and not kill myself in the daytime, I like doing things at night because there's no direct sunlight. It's not nearly as hot. It's only about 75 out right now. So I should be able to do this no problem, knock it out, go to bed. So I get to sleep in, do my schoolwork in the daytime, and then come back out here at night again tomorrow. So I'm gonna go knock out that front, and it should go pretty smoothly, hopefully. Alright, well, this looks super cool from back to front, but the one thing I noticed is the back rubs really bad on a lot of stuff, so definitely gonna have to do some clearancing in the morning. But one thing right off the bat that I noticed, it's touching the exhaust. That's something we gotta fix. And then it's also touching the upper, you can't really see it, but up there, you guys probably won't be able to see it, but that like upper dampener bar or whatever that is, that's hitting the inside of the tire as well. Got a pretty good amount of stuff hitting, and then I think it's rubbing somewhere else in the front, which is great. So this thing seems to rub a pretty good amount pretty much everywhere. So. But it is it's currently 2:30, 2:45 in the morning. I should probably go to bed, and I'm gonna tackle that in the morning because I gotta kind of beat the crap out of some things. So I'm not gonna start beating the exhaust in with a sledgehammer at 2:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna pick this video back up in the morning. See you guys then. All right, guys, daytime now. This thing looks so cool. Oh my gosh, just look at that meat in the back. Looks way better on this car. Sorry for everyone that liked it on the Galaxy. It just belongs on this car. I mean, they are made for it. So the one thing I learned last night is the upper shock. I guess it's like a quad shock, I guess a lot of the Foxbody guys call it, or I don't know if that's the actual technical name for it, but that upper shock that kind of goes through the wheel. You can see it right there. So that guy, so that shock that's horizontal right in there, a lot of guys just remove it. So really, if I can't get it to clear, I'll just literally take it out. But the issue with that is the car will probably axle hop. But this is a 275 drag radial. This car might make 200 wheel, might make 200 wheel. I doubt it. So I'm not really worried about trying to race this thing. And I honestly have no intentions on clutch kicking it just for fun, because I know it's gonna axle hop and break stuff, especially with the drag radial in the back. So I'm not really worried about it. So I think for right now, I'm gonna try to flip it. A lot of guys can flip them, and apparently if you put the eyelets on the other side, the shock shaft will actually be in a better spot and it'll clear the tire. So I'm gonna see if that'll work first. And then I'm gonna beat the living crap out of that exhaust with a sledgehammer until it clears. So those two things, and then we should be able to put this whole thing on the ground and we should be done. Too low then, yeah. but I don't really know. We're gonna find out.
Are those Galaxy wheels?
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, I was gonna say. Damn! Well, that wasn't supposed to do that. Oh, it looks sick on this side too.
Guess what? No rubbing.
No rubbing?
No, I can fit my
Yeah, but look at how far it's poking out on this side. Oh my god. Dude, it's doing a fat wheelie.
That's what it looks like when it washes.
Look at the torque on this thing. Oh my god, she's tucked, boys. That looks good. That looks really cool.
Jesus. I can put my fingers in there.
Yeah, but I think it's, once it comes back.
It's in. Oh wow, this is very good.
It's a neutral, it's a neutral. Throw it in gear. I forgot about that. Yeah, there we go.
Flashbacks to the gas.
Yeah, every time you get a somebody buy a new
Sold
daily.
the car and I had the evidence. Yeah, it definitely needs a alignment and a wheel spacer in the front. But the back looks freaking dope. That looks good.
Yeah, you're gonna rub.
It's gonna rub. It's also gonna settle too.
Hit a big bump and well.
Oh yeah.
Damn. Oh my goodness. Look at that meat. That thing is thick. Man, this thing looks cool. It's kind of crazy coming out and seeing this. Just total difference from what it was. I can see the fitment's actually pretty good. What ended up happening is I threw a 1-inch spacer on it, and that allowed me to keep that quad shock in the back. So I put it back on because there's no reason not to have it. So it has a 1-inch spacer. However, I'm thinking a 1/2 inch will be better because obviously, as you could tell, it's probably gonna rub. It's gonna be close, but it's gonna rub. I could roll the fenders and it probably won't rub, and I can get a little bit better fitment out of it. But I think for now, just driving it around, hopefully it won't rub. I definitely got a feeling if I hit a pretty decent bump, it's gonna rub. So I also really need an alignment in the front. You can see it's got a lot of camber. It's got a pretty good amount of camber on it. So if we pull that out, and I think I might put a 1-inch spacer in the front, then it'll fit better in the front. I also think if I put a 1-inch spacer, it won't rub as bad. But then again, if I do space it out, it'll probably rub on the front of the bumper. So I don't really know. We'll just have to play around with it and see. I'm thinking put the 1-inch in the front and then put a 1/2 inch in the back. I think everything will solve itself and we should be pretty much good there. So, but this thing looks freaking rad. The only thing I gotta do is put gear oil in it now. The RTV is set, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Take this thing for a drive. All right, well that thing is now done. All it needs is a lug nut it's missing. This doesn't have AC. That doesn't have AC, and it's missing a lug nut. And this is the new daily. This is the only car I have. It's the only car I have that gets decent fuel mileage. It gets like 22, I think, which is actually pretty good. And it's the only car I have that is working AC. I realized that. I was like, oh my God, I sold my Focus that had AC and it worked really well. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I got the town car, it is AC. So for right now, this has been my daily. But sometimes you just gotta take sacrifices to get what you want, guys. I didn't even really want that. I just kind of thought it was a cool idea, so I bought it. And now we have that. I just hate it when you take your girlfriend out to a nice place. You go out to Olive Garden, it's pretty nice. I'll say it's nice. You know, I wear Vans and t-shirts all the time. I'm not really a fancy guy. Olive Garden, pretty nice place. Denny's is a nice place for us, so whatever. Spent a bunch of money on this really nice food. You get it? You intentionally load up on the free breadsticks so you can split your meal and eat it for lunch the next day. And then you leave it in this hunk of shit all night and you realize you have to throw it away. That's a real bummer, isn't it? Let's talk about a pissed off day having to throw half your food out. And then so what do I have for lunch? I drive my butt all the way into town and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself. What do I treat myself to? You probably could have guessed, but alright, I hate myself. I mean, realistically, this thing can make a really great daily. It does have air conditioning. It's got a CB radio if I want to talk to truckers for fun. And it has cup holders, which are really good, and they do not move, so that's pretty baller. The only thing it's missing is the actual radio, which I need to put in on this thing. And the window broke, so it's got duct tape holding it up, so shout out to Brandon. And just like that, make any day a little bit better with some McDonald's. I do want to make some more videos of this thing, working on getting the doors and everything fixed. We'll probably end up pulling a couple of my sheet metal new talents out and start trying to fix this quarter panel and door up. But yeah, one of my buddies was driving it, and then the window stopped rolling up and down, so I think the cable mechanism inside the door broke. We're just gonna get 2 new doors. Probably gonna do both these doors, the rear door on that side, because that one doesn't roll up either. And then we gotta do some new bumpers and paint this turd. And then probably align it, because it's got a little bit of a camber issue. right, guys. Well, our little drive up and down the street didn't go very well, unfortunately. We are already definitely having a little bit of rubbing issues, which you can see, which is to be expected with this wheel and tire setup. This is a 10.5-inch wheel on the back of a Foxbody. Not something that's generically done, but you can tell it definitely does fit quite well. This is a 275/40/17 on a 17 by 10.5 SVE bullet wheel. I can't remember the specs on the front, but it has an NT55G2 on the front, which is what's on the white Galaxy. And I know a lot of you guys said these look great on the red Galaxy, but I think they look so much better on the Fox. So that is why I saved these wheels, because I knew I was gonna have some sort of newer generation Mustang and these were going to be perfect, and sure enough, these look awesome. So I'm stoked with this look. This is definitely something that I've wanted. Wow, I was thinking about going a different color with this thing, but the black, it looks pretty damn good, not gonna lie. So I'm stoked, totally worth the money. I was aware you can get 8 axles out of a Ranger, and those are a cost-effective way to do the rear. You can also do SN95 spindles with new brakes, but honestly, all that stuff, this entire kit with the gear oil and all the friction modifiers and everything was like $468. All that stuff used at a junkyard and you gotta go pull it yourself is probably $300-400 anyways. You can get all the stuff brand new online. It ships out to your door the next day. So this video is not sponsored by Elmar by any means, but this was definitely a good kit and I highly do recommend it because it was easy to install. It only took me a day, and just look at it. With the right wheel combo, this thing looks so much better. 5-lug. I don't know how some of the Foxbody guys keep 4-lug stuff on their car. That is the first thing we did on this thing. But it definitely needs some exhaust work because the wheels are rubbing on the exhaust. So we're sitting with a 1-inch spacer in the rear, which is probably why it rubs, but it will hit the inside of the body if we don't have some form of a spacer. So I think a 1/2-inch spacer in the rear will be perfect, and then put the 1-inch in the front, and that'll fix our really bad fitment up front. You can see it doesn't fit quite well. And then it needs to be we need to get the car aligned. It's not really set up very well, but I can't get the car aligned until we get rid of this ugly steering wheel, so I can make sure it's all straight and squared up. But I hope you guys are stoked. I'm pumped. This is a super cool looking car. I did not think this was going to come out anywhere near as good as it did. Massive thank you guys for watching today's video. Leave a like if you did go on to enjoy it. Next thing up on the list is the exhaust, steering wheel, and then we'll probably look into doing an AC conversion on this car, and then talk about paint, which I kind of like it black now. It looks pretty good, not gonna lie. I don't know if I want to change the color on it, but go ahead and let me know down in the comments what you guys think, what color we should paint this car. I'll be looking at your guys' comments, so like the video if you did enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next video with a Foxbody. See you later, guys.